Guess who's back?
Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do our mock draft 2.0. We are less than a week away from the real thing happening. But before we get started, please subscribe to the channel if you like the NFL and Dallas Cowboys content. We have a lot more coming, so stay tuned. All right, so the way we're going to do this, a lot different than our first one. We have the Draft Network's mock draft machine up right now. I don't know who I'm going to pick. RJ doesn't know, or I don't know who RJ is going to pick, and vice versa. He's going to be the odd number picks, and I'm going to be the even number picks. So RJ is on the clock right now as the GM of the Cincinnati Bengals. RJ, go ahead.
With the first pick of the NFL Draft 2020, select Joe Burrow. The GOAT.
All right. Yeah, I think these first few picks are definitely
these first few picks are pretty.
You know the players already. I mean, and then especially with the way the draft's going to go, I'm pretty sure if there's not going to be a trade, the GM's probably already called Goodell and was like, yeah, but I don't want to encounter any technical difficulties or anything. This is the guy we're going to take. All right, so now I'm on the clock. The Washington Redskins. Now, how I'm going to pick, I'm going to kind of weigh in what I think they should do, and then also, you know, of course, the value of the player. So, look, last year the Redskins, they took a quarterback. I don't feel like spending another first-round pick on a quarterback, so I'm just going to take Chase Young, the best player on the board, the best player in the draft. So the Washington Redskins select Chase Young, edge, Ohio State.
Trash.
Adding to their defensive line talent.
Okay, for the third pick, the Lions are on the board. They lost Darius Slay. Well, they traded away Darius Slay. They lack interior defensive line. They just need a lot of help on the defensive side of the ball. I'm taking, like, there's no sure bet more than Okudah is, so I'm taking Okudah again.
All right. Pretty scripted so far. And then today was a report from Rappaport. GM Bob Quinn of the Lions said that they've been had talks with teams for trading pick number 3 already. So, like we said before, that's probably a hot spot if somebody's trying to come up for a quarterback, or who knows, maybe they're trying to come up for Okudah, because there is a drop-off in corner, as we've said before. So, the Giants, I am on the clock. Pick number 4. Top 3 team needs: offensive tackle, linebacker, edge, safety. So, I know a lot of people have them taking the best offensive tackle here, but like I said, I'm the GM here, so I'm going to take the best player, in my opinion, in the draft. I'm going to take Isaiah Simmons, because of those top 4 needs, he fits 3 of them: linebacker, edge, and safety.
Yeah.
If the Giants employ him in all those 3 different ways, which I hope, James Betcher, the defensive coordinator over there, is going to have, you know, a lot of work to do as far as building the defense around him. But whenever you have a chance at a premier player like that, take him. Isaiah Simmons is the pick for the Giants at number 4.
I would have taken the top offensive tackle if I was picking the evens. Word came out that before they banned team visits for players, Miami was trying to rush to it to get in. They did not get him in, but I feel like that just really shows how much that they were, like, really trying to even get to know him even better, more, or pass or take physicals for him, take a physical. And look, QB fixes so much for a team like Miami, who honestly, when you look at their roster now, it's really coming together nicely, especially with free agency. And you just got to get your franchise guy when you're starting to surround your team with so much talent and rebuilding already, and the future looking bright now. So I'm going to go and take Tua.
All right. So, something about the Dolphins is there's a lot of talk about, I think they've done just as much work on Tua as they have Herbert. So, if they go Herbert, I really wouldn't be surprised. I don't think he's the better prospect, but he has health over Tua. And it seems like the Dolphins have just as much information on him, if not more, than they do Tua. So, they may feel he's the safer option there. So, now the Chargers are on the clock. Top team needs: quarterback, offensive tackle, cornerback, interior offensive line. Just like RJ said, you need a quarterback to compete. There's been a lot of talk about Tyrod Taylor and how Anthony Lynn really likes Tyrod Taylor and could go maybe a year or 2 with him. They probably could compete with him. Are they going to win the Super Bowl with him? Probably not. Are they going to win a Super Bowl with a rookie Justin Herbert? Probably not. I don't know. This is a tough one for me. But a real elite player, the next elite player in my opinion is Derek Brown. But they already have a stacked defensive line. If Isaiah Simmons was here or Okudah was here, I'd jump on that. So I'm going to fall back, and I'm just going to take the quarterback. I'm going to take Herbert. If they don't like Herbert as much as reports are saying, possibly, they prefer Tyrod, well, then I'm sure people would like to jump up and try and trade to this pick. But in this scenario, I'm going to take Justin Herbert, quarterback, Oregon.
All right, pick 7 for the Panthers. They need offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman. They just re-signed McCaffrey, so
they need D-line, corner. I mean, they need a lot of defense, really.
But in our first mock draft, we had them taking the best interior offensive lineman.
I believe we took Wirfs, yeah.
Yeah.
But
take Wirfs.
So,
who did they just trade away to the Chargers, right? Oh no, my bad. No.
Oh, they traded Trey Turner, the guard, for Russell Okung straight up. So they have a left tackle for a guard. But as we know as Cowboys fans, their entire interior of their defensive line is now on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe.
This is where I kind of get a little skeptical.
And this has also been a spot where there's been talks that if a player starts falling, 7 is a spot where teams could trade up possibly and get whoever is sliding at this point.
Damn, this is kind of like when you're in the fantasy draft, you're just like, fuck.
I wonder if a quarterback fell to 7, would the Panthers take a quarterback?
I was just thinking about that too.
They had Teddy Bridgewater. They signed him to like a $20 million per year deal. They took Will Grier last year. They traded Kyle Allen. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're set at quarterback, really.
No. I think they want to build from the interior out, so I'm going to go ahead and take Derek Brown for them.
All right. Derek Brown, the big monster defensive tackle from Auburn, goes to the Panthers at 7. Pick 8. I am on the clock for the Arizona Cardinals. This is easy for me. I'm going to take the best offensive tackle to protect Kyler Murray. So that is going to be Jedrick Wills, Alabama. Wham, bam. Easy. I know in our initial one, I don't know if we had them taking Wills. Maybe it was CeeDee Lamb. If they hadn't gotten Hopkins, I mean, I would have had that mocking Lamb there all day. But they took a ton of receivers last year, and they got Hopkins. So protect Kyler and take Wills. The Jaguars are now on the clock.
Pick number 9, Jacksonville Jaguars. Needs interior defensive line, cornerback, safety. Has wide receiver on there and quarterback. Minshew's still kind of a question mark. He did show really great flashes and had them in games. There's really a lot you could do here for Jacksonville, honestly, because I feel like they are in rebuilding. Like we said last time, they feel like if Minshew works out, then he works out. If not, then you're going to obviously probably not be really good this year, and you'll get a top chance at one of the quarterbacks next year as far as Trevor Lawrence goes.
Some people have them going up for the quarterback, too, if one starts sliding. I think in our last mock, we just had them taking the best player available, and I believe it was
Derek Brown,
or maybe Becton, either of the two, but I mean, it's really all up to your personal preference, and RJ's personal preference is much different from mine.
We've heard a lot of rumbles of C.J. Henderson rising up boards and placing him as a top 10, and one of their team needs is cornerback. They really don't have.
Well, they traded away Ramsey. They traded away Boye.
I'm gonna take C.J. Henderson from Florida.
All right, he's gonna stay in state. And actually, that probably would have been the way I would have mocked it too. I think that his stock really was elevated after the combine. I don't think his 2019 tape was all that inspiring, but there is a big drop off at corner. So and that's a premier position of need, a foundational need on the team, so makes sense. All right, the Cleveland Browns, who have been in the news this week about a possible trade down candidate as well, and the player that they're targeting is an offensive tackle. In this case, they're going to stay, and they have their pick of the litter, basically. Mekhi Becton's on the board, Andrew Thomas is on the board, and I believe Tristan Wirfs is still on the board. It's going to be an interesting one. So, the player that I'm going to take is Andrew Thomas, the offensive tackle from Georgia. I started doing a little bit more work on that player. He is a 4-year starter at Georgia. He projects more as tackle. He's a big mauler. Wirfs has a little more position flexibility and is very, very athletic. But he has some technique issues every now and again as far as his footwork. So I'm going to take Andrew Thomas. He's a little bit safer with less upside, I would say, than Wirfs. But I know that he can start day one on either side. He'll probably be playing left because they got Conklin in free agency to play right. So Andrew Thomas, the offensive tackle from Georgia, 10 to Cleveland.
And with Stefanski running that offense now, I feel like he would fit the best, especially because he's a really good run blocker.
The New York Jets are on the clock at pick 11.
Yeah.
This is another
needs,
one.
yeah, offensive tackle, edge, wide receiver. It's like, obviously here it's like you got to help Darnold, but you can help him in a lot of ways. You can take the next best offensive tackle, or you can take the best weapon. And to me, the best weapon for a guy like Darnold, or for any quarterback, would be a guy like Judy. Just crisp, so good at route running, creating space, making a corner flip his whole entire body. It's insane when you go and really watch him. But man, offensive tackles look really.
There's still 2 premier tackles on the board, Wirfs and Becton.
It's a matter of what you value here more.
Protect your quarterback or give him weapons. This is a deep wide receiver class. That's another thing
it
to
is a
consider
deep wide
as well.
receiver class.
Oh, and then there was reports this week that at 11 that the Jets were circling in on Henry Ruggs III. Now, that seems a little rich for my blood. That means that you're going to take him over 2 offensive tackles and as the first receiver off the board. I don't know, but maybe they have him graded as the best. I mean, it just really all depends. And then also, a GM told Ian Rappaport that mock drafting this year has been as off as it has ever been. There's going to be a lot of players going in spots that you wouldn't expect. So, I mean, if Ruggs does come off the board here in the real draft, don't be surprised. We've been tipped off already. So,
I'm gonna pick Becton for them, the offensive tackle, just because, like Sal said, this wide receiver draft is insane, and I feel like the value you can get at second, third round guys, even fourth round guys, are going to be there for the Jets. So I'm going to pick Becton. He's one of the clean pass set guys in the as far as tackle position goes. So I feel like you need to protect Darnold, and you can get him weapons still in the later rounds, in the middle rounds.
All right, the Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock now. Pick number 12. Team needs wide receiver, cornerback, interior defensive line, wide receiver again. So if that comes up twice in your top 4, I know where I'm going. Corner, I think we initially had them taking C.J. Henderson in our first mock, but he's not on the board. There's nobody worth that value. So I'm going to take the best receiver, in my opinion, in the draft. I'm going to take C.D. Lamb. It hurts my heart. It hurts RJ's heart, but damn, the Raiders are going to get a hell of a player. He's going to look really awesome in the silver and black, and that's going to bring a lot of excitement to their new stadium whenever it opens. C.D. Lamb, the wide receiver from Oklahoma, going to the Raiders.
I feel like if that does come down to it right there for the Raiders, I feel like maybe they lean a little bit more to Ruggs, just because I feel like Mayock and Gruden are like so much like speed guys. Like they love oh my gosh, he's so fast or whatever. But no, yes, like I said before, I feel like CD's the best player, wide receiver in this draft. But on to number 13, San Francisco, cornerback, wide receiver, interior offensive lineman, interior defensive lineman. There's been word that they really like Kinlaw. Cornerback, like I said, I don't think there's anybody at cornerback worth the number 13 pick. Wide receiver here, hey, there's definitely still the cream of the crop right here. 2 out of the 3 of the top 3 receivers left. So we'll see what we're gonna do here.
And then Tristan Wirfs is sliding now in our mock right now. He's still available. So if this happens in real life, I'm sure somebody's going to be...
Somebody would probably be looking to trade up right now.
And get him.
Yeah. Maybe a team like Cincinnati or something. What is
or Miami, they have capital.
Yeah. What is Shanahan like?
Yeah, I would look
I feel like San Francisco already has a nice defense line. I mean, I know they traded away Buckner, right? No.
Yes. No. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Buckner to Indianapolis.
Yeah, to the Colts.
For this pick.
Yeah, for this pick right here. So I feel like it'd kind of be like, I guess, contradicting to be just go ahead and picking another interior defensive lineman. I mean, then again, you were going to have to pay Buckner soon. But I feel like Shanahan's going to lean wide receiver here, especially with Judy on the board. I'm going to take Judy for the Niners.
All right. I mean, this is going as expected, though. I mean, I don't... Anyway, but... Okay, one quick point I want to make about 13. So, if something like this happens where Becton is sliding, Wirfs, Wills, whoever, because people got them ranked all over just like the receivers, if somebody wanted one of them, 13 is the spot to go up, as we've mentioned before. If Miami wanted to jump up, because 14, this is going to be telegraphed, I think.
Yeah,
I believe if Tristan Wirfs or any of the tackles are there, they're going to pick them. So that's who I'm going to take, Wirfs, the Iowa offensive tackle. So if Miami or somebody like the Jaguars, somebody who has capital in the back end, 13 is going to be a spot to jump up, get in front of Tampa Bay, and select that player. But in here, I got them taking Wirfs, and we're on to pick number 15, the Denver Broncos, after Tampa Bay.
And this one's pretty easy with Locke coming on and Sutton being your big type of receiver, your body guy. His perfect complement is Henry Ruggs III, speed guy. So I'm going to pick Henry Ruggs for the Broncos. And I'm pretty sure Broncos fans will be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, and that's the player that I've been having mocked to them from the very beginning. I know all their fans are looking at wide receiver. Their top needs were receiver and corner. Again, corner, there's no one here to take in that value, so they take Ruggs. 16, the Atlanta Falcons. Team needs cornerback, interior defensive line, edge, running back. Okay, so they just got Gurley. I'm not going to take a running back here. Though they've been doing a lot of homework on running backs, but I just don't think it would be the value at this point unless they got one of these top 4 running backs ranked extremely high. Corner, again, nobody I don't think is worth taking at this point. Interior defensive line, Kinlaw still on the board. Edge, Kayvon Chason is on the board, as well as Yetur Gross-Matos, Zach Bond, AJ Epinesa. But this is going to be another stab in the heart. I think this is pretty easy. If he's still on the board, I'm going to take Kinlaw here for the Falcons. Put him next to Grady Jarrett. That's scary. And you need interior pressure. And you got it. Because they don't have much on the edge. And they don't have much coverage. They're going to need a lot of pressure. So I'm taking Javon Kinlaw, number 16 overall, to the Atlanta Falcons. And now the Dallas Cowboys are on the clock. Ding, 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 ding. What a little... All right, so the pick.
I think
let's discuss
if this were to happen right here, I think we can both agree. So the best thing. Okay, obviously this is one of the far-fetched ones, but if obviously you'd want to trade for Jamal, just go ahead and get picked.
Oh yeah. If you could do that just for 17, nothing else. If you want to give up like a 6th or a 5th in a later round, whatever. Yeah. But if you can call up the Jets and they say, hey, I'll give you 17 for Jamal. You still got some really good players here on the board. In our mock, we didn't have them take a wide receiver. They would come up and probably take a guy like Justin Jefferson, Denzel Mims, whichever one of the pick that they like. They're here on the board. And there's teams coming up who want wide receiver. Do it. But right now, as it currently stands at 17, team needs are cornerback, edge, safety, interior offensive line. So let's run through that real quick. So if you're just looking at the predictive board right here, the top 4 players are Kayvon Chason, Xavier McKinney, Grant Delpit, and Justin Jefferson. All of them fit a need, edge, both 2 safeties and a receiver. Corner, Jeff Gladney, Christian Fulton, Trevon Diggs. Interior offensive line, Cesar Ruiz from Michigan, the guy that has been rumors that they like a lot. That would be, I don't think fans would be happy about it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they went that position with those other players on the board. And then Kenneth Murray and Patrick Queen, linebacker. I think there's been a lot of rumblings about linebacker. If they take linebackers, then that just tells me something seriously wrong with Leighton, and that just completely sucks. I mean, that's gonna be worse, not just because of the player they picked, but then damn, that player that we have on the team that was, a great player his rookie year has an issue, and that sucks. So, RJ, what are we gonna do here?
In this position, realistically, trade back.
Yeah, I would be on the phone with Jacksonville.
The Patriots.
Preferably Jacksonville, because then you get ahead of the Eagles and maybe you pick, one of the safeties or defenders, whatever that you want there. Minnesota has a lot of capital. They have pick 22 and 25. Maybe you can finagle something from them. The Dolphins have 18 and 26. The Patriots, the Saints, maybe if they want Jordan Love, who's still on the board here, the quarterback from North Dakota State or Utah State, sorry. But yeah, I think I would probably trade back too.
I don't want to trade back here. But
in this case, we're sticking to the board. So Chason, McKinney, Delpit, and Justin Jefferson. If I had to rank them in order, with needs in mind, I'd probably go Chason, Jefferson, Delpit, McKinney. And I know RJ has that probably different, but just the edge, man, like right defensive end, where we talked about this. We had Crawford and possibly Aldon Smith and Randy Gregory, but one has health issues, the other two haven't even been reinstated, and there's not really any youth there.
And if they really like Chason, as far as, because Chason has been discussed as a boom or bust player, and with a lot of upside if he does end up he's pretty raw. He tested really good at the right.
Yeah, he didn't test at the combine, but I mean,
as
he's
far as
super bendy. His measurables are freak. He's only 20 years old.
It'd be a tie right now, but for me between Chason and McKinney, just because McKinney does so well as a safety, and he was like the quarterback of Alabama's defense. I feel like he's a really smart player, very instinctive player. I feel like he covers well also a little bit, not as far as not as a Delpit as far as being a middle of the field guy, but as far as being underneath, being able to undercut routes and stuff, playing on tight ends.
I'm gonna leave the pick up to you. I mean, I'm fine with whoever. I think I would want to trade back no matter what. Yeah, anyway, especially with Kinlaw.
I would trade back here, but for me, I would want to pick McKinney.
Okay, so the Cowboys select Xavier McKinney.
I feel like he's more of a, for sure, obviously Chason's taking the risk, but I mean, if it ends up paying off, I think he'd be a really great player. But I feel like McKinney just really fills that need that you've been wanting to fill and needing to fill for the past couple of years, and he just brings a lot, especially with his ability to command a defense on the secondary side.
All right. Well, the Cowboys selected Xavier McKinney. He was one of the first names getting mocked to them over and over whenever mock draft season started. So we go back to that with the Alabama safety going to the Dallas Cowboys at pick 17. Now I am on the clock again for the Miami Dolphins. So we already had them. RJ had them taking Tua with their first pick. Next need is offensive tackle, interior offensive line, safety, edge. So let's look at offensive tackle. So Josh Jones, the Houston tackle's on the board.
I feel like he's a project.
He may be a project, but he is the best guy here. And then, I mean, it also depends on how you have him ranked. Isaiah Wilson, the tackle from Georgia's here. The opposite tackle from Andrew Thomas. Ezra Cleveland, the tackle from Boise, is here. And I believe Austin Jackson, the tackle from USC, is also on the board here. So, let's see. But we're going for best value because the Dolphins also pick again at 26. So offensive tackle, interior offensive line, safety, and edge. So safety and edge, we got Chason on the board here, and then we also have Delpit. Like I said, the Dolphins, they are able to make, they are able to gamble on some things. So I'm going to take Chason. I think he's the best player on the board at that point. He has all the tools. I wouldn't have minded if the Cowboys took him one pick before. I would have been completely fine with that. But he goes one pick later to the Miami Dolphins. And now the Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock again at pick number 19.
Again, their needs are interior defensive lineman, safety, quarterback, wide receiver. I'm going to go... Oh, shit. Never mind. What did I do? Who? We're on 19, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chase on went to the Dolphins at 18.
My bad. I totally skipped over just because. How do I go back? No. God damn it.
I mean, corner, just like wide receiver, they need a lot of corner help. D-line, safety. We haven't had a corner go since Henderson, I believe, at 9 to Jacksonville. So maybe this is where you start looking at the position again. Delpit's also on the board if they want to take a safety. Maybe they double dip at wide receiver. Justin Jefferson's still on the board. That'd be crazy. Interior defensive line, you probably have to reach down to like a Matabike, a Neville Gallimore, Ross Blacklock, maybe Marlon Davidson, depending on how you look at him. Whether you're going to play him as a 5 or a 3. He played all over for Auburn, so that's also an option.
Go ahead and make the pick.
Me?
Yeah, because I messed up here.
All right. 19. So what would I do? So corner, interior defensive line, safety. The best corner available here, as it is going right now, is Jeff Gladney from TCU or Christian Fulton from LSU. I kind of want to take Delpit here, but they don't have anybody on the outside. So I'm just going to take Christian Fulton, the corner from LSU, at 19. I feel it's safe. Delpit did not perform at the combine. People have questions about his tackling, so maybe they don't like him as much. I feel like Mayock's a guy that will love Delpit because of the leadership aspect, and then pairing him with Jonathan Abram from last year, that'd be insane. But they did sign Demarius Randall in free agency, and he already said that he views him as a safety. So Christian Fulton, corner from LSU. On the clock now, it's 20, the Jacksonville Jaguars, with their second pick of the first round. Oh, so this is me again too, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Interior defensive line, safety, quarterback, wide receiver. So we already had them take a corner in C.J. Henderson. Interior defensive line, like I said before, they may have to reach up. Safety, Delpit is on the board. Wide receiver, Justin Jefferson is on the board. So you have a pick of the litter of 2 LSU players. So we already took defense. I'm going to go offense this time. I'm going to take Justin Jefferson. I believe that's the same player we had them take in our first mock. He's incredible from the slot. Hell of a lot of production this past year with LSU. And now Minshew has DJ Chark and Justin Jefferson. He's got Leonard Fournette, the all LSU offensive weapons. They're ready to go and be the Bayou boys. So, but now the Philadelphia Eagles at pick 21 are on the clock.
I got it, yeah.
All right. The hated Eagles, the nemesis. But Jefferson just went off before them. I've been monitoring a lot of Eagles fans. They'll probably be pulling their hair out if that happens. But there are still some quality players left for them.
They just let Malcolm Jenkins walk. I feel like this draft is still so rich in the second and third rounds for big-time wide receivers. Unless they really love a guy like Mims or Rager right there, and they really want to get a weapon for Carson. And their secondary was so trash last year. I know they did get Slay, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and pick Delpit for them.
Oh, man. If this really happens, man, I'm going to be... I don't know. That's going to suck. Because, man, I really like him as a player and then going to the Eagles, but that's not the first time that it has happened, and it won't be the last. So, Grant Delpit, the safety from LSU, goes to the Eagles at 21. Pick 22, the Minnesota Vikings. I believe they got this pick from the Buffalo Bills in the Stephon Diggs trade. They have a lot of needs. I mean, they basically don't have any corners other than Mike Hughes, the corner they took in the first round a couple years ago. Quarterback, wide receiver, edge, interior offensive line are their needs. If you're just looking at the board, Jeff Gladney is the highest ranked player As far as those positions go, looking at edge, Yeturgos Matos is there. Wide receiver, Denzel Mims is there. But the Vikings do pick again at 25. So let's see. Corner starts dropping off again. I'm going to take the best available corner here for them. So I'm going to take Jeff Gladney, and I know that Mike Zimmer loves taking corners in the first round. So Jeff Gladney, cornerback from TCU, goes at 22. And now the mystery of the draft, pick 23, the New England Patriots are on the clock. RJ?
Oh, man, I've seen a lot of people not starting to, like, what was I can't remember what was said about Jordan Love, but it has something to do with, like, tell me where his upside basically, like, outmeasures what, like, all of what, like, the bad that he's showing on the tape. Mm-hmm. But again, I feel like he does have a lot of upside, though. Man, do you really want to go into the season with Stidham? And I feel like maybe they can be a little.
Some people had Stidham ranked very, very high last year. I don't know. It just depends on how they feel.
He was really good here in Texas. I think he was like a 5-star recruit, man.
Their team needs are quarterback, wide receiver, edge, interior offensive line. Those are their top 4 needs.
And I'm pretty sure the top interior offensive lineman is
Ruiz. He's still on the board.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, Mims is there, Rager's there, of course Jordan Love for quarterback is there, edge, Gross Matos, AJ Epinesa. I feel like Epinesa is a player that they probably like a lot, but man, I don't know.
This is hard, man.
We're playing GM here though, so it's whoever we think is the best player for them, or in this case, RJ.
If they I don't know how they're thinking though, because it's like if they really like Stidham, then it's like, hey, go get him a weapon, because you obviously didn't do that with Brady, and really right now you really can't count on oh my gosh,
Hoyer?
No.
N'Keal Harry?
Yes, Harry. Yes, N'Keal Harry, the guy who
getting older.
Yeah. So I feel like if
obviously not there anymore.
So I feel like they have to go with their top wide receiver on the board if they do really like a guy like Stidham. And I'll go ahead and take Denzel Mims here.
All right, Denzel Mims, the wide receiver from Baylor, goes to the New England Patriots. And then another thing, if it doesn't work out with Stidham, then you're going to draft a quarterback next year, and he's going to need weapons. So maybe you get a jump on it and give Stidham a shot this year. If it doesn't work out, somehow, some way, maybe Trevor Lawrence will be a Patriot next year, which would suck, but it's possible. All right, I'm on the clock for the Saints. Their team needs are linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, and quarterback. It's going to be interesting one, too. So Jordan Love is still on the board. The quarterback from Utah State.
And Breeze this is probably his last year. We already didn't think it was his last year before.
Last year, I mean, we've been saying that. This is the thing about the Saints. Every year, they're like, oh, maybe the Saints will take a quarterback. And they're always in this area. This is Breeze last year. But I feel like this year might be Breeze last year. Not maybe one more year. I don't know, man. But there's some good linebackers on the board. Patrick Queen is still available. Corner, Trevon Diggs is available. Wide receiver, Jalen Reagor's there. That'd be scary. But they did pick up Emmanuel Sanders. And man, if you look at the Saints roster from top to bottom, they're pretty stacked everywhere. They have really, really elite level talent. They have Taysom Hill. Man, I don't know.
Oh yeah, also supposedly they're high on Taysom Hill.
Okay, linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, quarterback. All right, but I'm the GM, so I'm going to take who I think is the better player. I'm going to take Patrick Queen, the linebacker from LSU. I think he's a 3-down backer. It'll just make their defense even better. Jordan Love, I'm not convinced on him. Maybe there'll be some teams out there that are, but I think he's going to slide. Still have him sliding here. And the Vikings are on the clock again. RJ? Take it over.
Who do we have the Vikings picking?
The Vikings took Jeff Gladney, cornerback, TCU.
Okay. Okay, so cornerback was one of their needs filled, and you have another wide receiver here.
Ooh, are they going to double dip in the TCU pool?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Edge.
Epenesa's there. Gross Matos is there. Cesar Ruiz for interior offensive line is still there.
You didn't get Griffin back. You're not going to get him back. I don't think so. They just picked a corner. Safeties, there's definitely really nobody there. You still got Thielen. Again, there's a lot of upside at wide receiver in this year's draft being so deep.
Man, who they got? They got Thielen, and then what? I don't think they have anything else other than him. I think BC Johnson or something like that is the next guy. Yeah, Edge. Yeah, man, Everson Griffin and Jadeveon Clowney are both free agents, edge players that probably will be signed shortly after the draft, I would think. But I think that their stock is going down even more the longer they wait, unfortunately for them.
I'll go and have them picking Rager. Explosive.
Double dipping in TCU. Jalen Rager, the wide receiver from TCU, goes to the Vikings at pick 25. Man, I would have loved if he could be a Cowboy, but I think he's going round one easy. Unless they move back, ain't going to be possible. Pick 26, the Miami Dolphins again. So they took Tua, they took K'Lavon Chaisson. Their next needs: offensive tackle, interior offensive line, safety. Both the top two safeties are gone. Antoine Winfield's also on the board, but they need to protect Tua. So let's look. Josh Jones is here. Isaiah Wilson from Georgia. Ezra Cleveland from Boise State. This really just goes on how you rank the guys, but Josh Jones, according to the Draft Network's board, is ranked higher, and I have seen a few mocks where Josh Jones is the guy that they take, so I'm going to take Josh Jones, Houston offensive tackle here for the Dolphins to protect Tua, and they need to protect Tua.
And I feel like for Dolphin fans, and it's kind of working out nice. I mean, the gamble on Chaisson it's a gamble, but for now, I feel like it's shaping out pretty good.
27, the Seattle Seahawks are on the clock.
They're always such a... haven't they not drafted with their first round pick the past?
Yeah, something like they've traded their first round pick the last
three drafts,
3 or 4 years, something like that. This would be easy for me if I was making the pick, and it also kind of ties into what RJ said before about them. But I'm not going to try and tip off the pick. I'm going to let him come to his own conclusion. But their top team needs are edge, interior offensive line, offensive tackle, and wide receiver are their top 4 needs. Clowney was their edge player last year. He's a free agent. Their offensive line, I mean, they always have issues there. They never invest in that. Wide receiver, Tyler Lockett is there. DK Metcalf is there. I mean, those are top 2 pretty good guys. After that, they got a host of guys. I believe David Moore. And then, of course, Russell Wilson is a QB, so he should be able to elevate them all. And he has.
I feel like these top offensive tackles, that are left right now, they're both kind of they both have their glaring weaknesses, but you have to do something. And I think whatever is here right now is better than what you have on the roster. So I'm going to have them taking Isaiah Wilson.
All right, Isaiah Wilson, the offensive tackle from Georgia. His ranking is all over the place. He could be a first-round pick. He could be a second-round pick. But Benjamin Albright did tweet earlier this week that he expects 6 offensive tackles to go in the first round. So I believe we're already at 6 now.
Yeah, so that's 6.
There goes Wilson. Maybe I think I would have probably taken Cesar Ruiz, the interior offensive lineman from Michigan.
Yeah.
He was also a consideration there. And then Ezra Cleveland and Austin Jackson, the other 2 tackles. But finally, they draft somebody in the first round on the offensive line to protect Russell. I would have gone offensive line anywhere at that point.
Yeah.
But 28, the Ravens. Top team needs linebacker, interior offensive line, wide receiver, and edge. So edge, we got your Gross Matos on the board, AJ Epinesa. Linebacker, Kenneth Murray is on the board. I believe we had him mocking them last time. If he's there, I think it fits. he slides in immediately. If you look at their defense, that is the one glaring spot that they don't have somebody. So Kenneth Murray, the linebacker from Oklahoma, goes to the Ravens at pick 28. And now at 29, the Tennessee Titans are on the board.
So you got edge, interior defensive lineman, and offensive tackle for them. Top cornerbacks are pretty much gone unless they value one of the guys that's been sliding, like
Diggs.
Diggs or AJ from Clemson. I feel like they had some good edge players last year. Did they not? With what's his name?
They took.
What's the guy that? Oh my gosh, that they got really good value on.
Simmons last year in the first round.
Harold Landry.
Harold Landry.
Yeah.
He'll be in his second or third year, I believe. They let go of Jarrell Casey. Just depends on what
They did lose Conklin, right?
They lost Conklin. Tannehill's back at quarterback. Derrick Henry's there. He signed his tender, I believe, already, his franchise tag. On the outside, they have A.J. Brown, Corey Davis. They have a lot of options here.
Yeah.
I mean, and at the back end of the first round, it's almost like the second round already. So,
yeah.
I mean, however you have them ranked, I mean, it really depends. But there's still some value players left on the board here.
Yeah.
Where are you leaning, offense or defense?
I'm leaning defense.
Okay, defense. Mike Vrabel's a defensive head coach, so that makes sense.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Gross Matos.
All right. Arturo Gross Matos, edge from Penn State. Man, he has really good production. Honestly, if the Cowboys trade way back, I wouldn't mind them taking them, and maybe they even consider him at 17. You never know, over Chason, or if Chason's not there. Pick 30, the Green Bay Packers. Top team needs, wide receiver, tight end, interior defensive line, and corner. Wide receiver. Let's look at receiver. Ooh, gotta scroll down. Brandon Ayuk, KJ Hamler, Laviska Shenault, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr., tight end. They took Jay Sternberger last year. I wouldn't take a tight end in the first round. There's not a value at tight end in the first round. Interior defensive line. Matabike is there. Marlon Davidson. Ross Blacklock is there. Their defense was pretty good last year, considering Aaron Rodgers. Right now they have Devontae Adams on the outside. Marcus Valdez-Scantling. What would I do if I were the Packers? If I were the Packers, I would take... I would take T. Higgins as a wide receiver from Clemson. I don't think he's the best guy. Definitely not an elite tier player, but he's a jump ball specialist. Somebody that can go opposite the route running ability of Devontae Adams and makes their offense even better. And I think they could get by on defense with what they have. They were pretty good last year. They do need linebacker, but there's nobody there worth taking, I don't think. So T. Higgins, the wide receiver from Clemson, goes to the Green Bay Packers, and the San Francisco 49ers are on the clock at pick 31.
I think this is pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and lean cornerback here. I think it would be between Diggs and Terrell. Diggs is more of a press guy, where Terrell is athletic, long. He's like 6'1", right? I think he fit good into San Francisco's scheme across from Sherman. So I'm going to take the cornerback AJ Terrell from Clemson.
All right. So Trevon Diggs may not make it. May make it into the second round.
But then again, Casey's here right here.
Yep, 32, Kansas City Chiefs, and their top team needs are quarterback, interior offensive line, running back, linebacker, and edge. Okay, so we know Kansas City offense is through the roof. Defensively, they get by. I believe they lost Kendall Fuller in the offseason. So let's look at corner. Jalen Johnson, the corner from Utah. Noah Benogany, the corner from Auburn. Trevon Diggs, the corner from Alabama, as aforementioned. Cesar Ruiz for interior offensive line is still available. And then in the first mock, we had them taking running back. But honestly, I think that whenever they come up in the second round, they'll get one of the top 4 running backs. So I'm not going to take running back here. I'm not going to consider it. So do I want to marginally improve the defense or build on the strength of the offense? If it were me, I'm going to build on the strength of the offense, and I'm going to take Cesar Ruiz, the interior offensive lineman from Michigan. I'm going to protect Patrick Mahomes and secure the future and possibly try and make another run at it and kick off this or continue the dynasty, try and make it into a dynasty and win the Super Bowl again. So that completes the first round mock draft 2.0 from our channel. I'm going to run down the picks again. Yeah. 1, Joe Burrow to the Bengals. 2, Chase Young to the Redskins. 3, Jeff Okudah to the Lions. 4, Isaiah Simmons to the Giants. 5, Tua Tagovailoa to the Dolphins. 6, Justin Herbert to the Chargers. 7, Derek Brown to the Panthers. 8, Jedrick Wills to the Cardinals. 9, C.J. Henderson to the Jacksonville Jaguars. 10, Andrew Thomas to the Browns. 11, Mekhi Becton to the Jets. 12, C.D. Lamb to the Raiders. 13, Jerry Jeudy to the San Francisco 49ers. 14, Tristan Wirfs to the Bucks. 15, Henry Ruggs III to Denver. 16, Javon Kinlaw to the Falcons. 17, Xavier McKinney to the Cowboys. 18, Kayvon Chason to the Dolphins. 19, Christian Fulton to the Raiders. 20, Justin Jefferson to the Jags. 21, Grant Delpit to the Eagles. 22, Jeff Gladney to the Vikings. 23, Denzel Mims to the Pats. 24, Patrick Queen to the Saints. 25, Jalen Reagor to the Vikings. 26, Josh Jones to the Dolphins. 27, Isaiah Wilson to the Seahawks. 28, Kenneth Murray to the Ravens. 29, Yetur Gross-Matos to the Titans. 30, T. Higgins to the Packers. 31, A.J. Terrell to the 49ers. And finally, 32, Cesar Ruiz to the Kansas City Chiefs. That concludes the draft. RJ, you got anything to say about the draft before the big day this upcoming Thursday? We may not have another video relating to the draft before then. So
no running back selected in the first round here in our mock draft. I'd see maybe a team really like whatever running back they really like would probably maybe want to move up for them, especially a guy like Jonathan Taylor or Swift, depending on their offense. Like I said, for Dallas, when we ran into that position, we'd rather them trade back or try to trade that 17 pick to the Jets for Jamal. If the Jets were to take a tackle at 11. Then trading with Dallas at 17 to come up and get a guy like Mims. I feel like that'd be really good for them. Mm-hmm. Really good for Darnold. They could really capitalize off of that. I'd really love that. I think that'd be the best scenario for both teams there, if it were to play out like this.
And in that case, we'd get Jamal Adams.
Yeah, in that case, yeah.
And we would have to pay him, which is fine. I think.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah.
6 offensive tackles we had taken in the first round, so that fits the narrative that we're hearing right now.
How many wide receivers?
Let's see.
6 also, I think. 6 or 7?
2, 3, 7. 7 receivers taken in the first round. Let's see. Yeah, these are the names to know that will probably be going in the first. But man, there's still so many good players available. If the Cowboys do trade back, a name that they've been talking about a lot is A.J. Terrell, the corner from Clemson. They may have him ranked a lot higher than people think. So, and also he may be a consideration at 17. There's a large group of names tied to the Cowboys, and they're all defenders. Because I don't think anybody expects one of the elite tier wide receivers to fall to them, and I don't think they see that either. I think that concludes our mock draft 2.0. We are looking forward to next Thursday. We will see what happens. The whole sports world is going to be tuning in because there's not much else to watch. Nope. But we appreciate y'all watching the video. If you please like the video. Comment down below who you think your team's going to pick or what you think about our mock. We appreciate you watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to for you, come along and see us